Hello, my name is Amanda Chandler, and I was asked to come on here and share my story. I am an only child that was born and raised in a small West Texas town, Stoddard, Texas. I now live in Wichita Falls. Um, I actually ended up in Wichita Falls because I came here to go to radiology school. Midwestern State is a nationally recognized school for radiology, and I wanted to go to the best. So I came here, met my husband, we got married, and I went to radiology school. That was fun. I love being an x-ray tech. The human body fascinates me. Even though everybody's basically the same, they're not. It's just really neat. Right now, I currently don't do x-ray. I'll always be an x-ray tech, but I do intraoperative neuro monitoring for a local neurosurgeon. And what that means is I monitor the patient that he's operating on, nerves and muscles, and while he's operating on their spine. Basically make sure everything's still working the way it should be when he gets done. So that's pretty neat too. And I enjoy it. A lot of people don't know this about me, but when I was born, the umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck, and the doctor didn't know what to do, so he grabbed my arm and pulled. When he did, he ripped all the muscles and everything in my right shoulder. So what that means is the range of motion is not the same as my left one. It's weaker. I basically still look the same, but I carry it differently. So it's just different. I played sports as a kid. I was active. I just may have had to adapt how I did things. Some people don't even notice that anything's wrong. I have to be really doing something, and I might hold my arm a little different, and then they notice. So that means that I have a whole lot of nerve damage in that shoulder that likes to come and go as it pleases. And it's very painful. It's like being cattle prodded. It's like an electrical shock from my shoulder all the way down to my fingertips. I also suffer from migraines, and they are the kind that put you in bed or in the hospital. I used to miss a lot of work. I would have to take medicine to prevent, and then I would take medicine to try to get rid of it, and then I'd be in a fog for 2 or 3 days, or I'd be in bed for 2 or 3 days, and my daughter did not understand why her mom was in bed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when she wanted to play. So I just thought that's just what you had to do. You took the medicine to get rid of the stuff, and then you suffered the consequences. 15 years ago, my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and it was contained in the prostate, so the doctor went in and removed his prostate. But when he did that, he damaged a lot of stuff down in my dad's pelvic area, lots of nerve damage. And so my dad was on a lot of hardcore painkillers, narcotics, stuff like that to try to help with the nerve pain and other damage that was going on down there. This was 15 years ago. So he had been doing that for a while. 2 years ago, he got what we thought was a stomach bug and got dehydrated. And so his doctor admitted him to the hospital where I worked. And that was on a Thursday. And they were just going to give him some fluids, get him rehydrated so that he would feel better. And then on that Friday, I got off early. And I came home to get Jaden and went back up there. And him and I were talking and giving each other grief. And he said he needed to go to the bathroom. So we stepped out. And when we stepped back in, the look on my dad's face was terrifying. And he looked at me and he said, "I cannot breathe." So I went and got the nurse. And they came in and they were going to run some tests. And then the next thing I know, they're pushing us out of the room, closing the door. People are going in and out of the room. They're calling a code. I work in the medical field. I know what a code means. I let this go on for a few minutes, and then I couldn't take it anymore. So I busted in the room to see what was going on. And they were performing CPR, and they had a tube down his throat to help him breathe. I was just talking to this man. So after I kind of took that scene in, I went over to my dad and I started screaming at him that he could not leave me, that I needed him, and it is not his time. And I'm screaming at him. So I sat there begging my dad to not leave me for a few minutes. And finally it dawned on me. This is not about me. This was about my dad. And he had been in pain for a very long time. And he did not like the way he had become. And he was tired. And his body was wore out. So I bent over and I whispered in his ear that it was okay. That I knew he was tired. And that if he needed to go, that he needed to. And that I would be fine. And I would take care of my mom and my daughter. And that I would love him forever. So they care flighted him to Wichita Falls, to the bigger hospital. I knew at that moment in that small hospital that he was gone. We waited for hours at the bigger hospital before we knew anything. Finally, the doctor came out and said that the machine was keeping him alive and that they had given him all of the medicine that they could to keep his body going. And they wanted to know what we wanted to do. This was the love of my mom's life. They had fallen in love in high school, and she didn't understand what was going on. I had to take my mom aside and explain to her that he left, that he was gone, and he had been gone for a while, and that we would not be getting him back. That even days from then, we would not have my dad. Yes, the machine would have him breathing, but my dad is not there. So I had to convince my mom that we had to pull the plug on my dad. So that sent me into a downward spiral. The whole night plays on loop in my head constantly. I stayed in a state of shock for a long time. He was only 65. I had told him he would be here till I was gone. That's just how it worked. So I went down a pretty dark rabbit hole. And I didn't care. That's just how it was going to be. So one day I finally woke up and said, Amanda, you have a daughter and you can't do this. She cannot see this. This is not healthy. You have got to find a better way for yourself to get healthy and to be there for your child. Because my dad showed me that the way I was going about treating things going on with me and in my life was not the way to go. So I started researching some stuff, and almost to the day, a year later, my cousin invited me to Essential Oils party. And I went. And I sat there and I listened, and I thought, this sounds like what I've been looking for. I think I'm going to try this. So I bought the starter kit. I came home. I started reading about every oil in the kit. And I started using them. First, I started using them for headaches and migraines. And I'm happy to report that since I started using the oils regularly, I have not had a full-blown migraine in a year. And y'all don't know how amazing that is, because I was getting them 2 to 3 times a month. And so to not have one in a year is amazing. And then my nerve pain started up. And so I put a blend of oils on my shoulder and a hot compress, and it went away. And I was like, no, that's just coincidence. Now, granted, I have never been able to get it to go away with any kind of medication, therapy, exercise, beating it, whatever. And it usually lasts for a while. And this was like, I felt it coming on and did it, and it stopped. And I was like, no, I that's just coincidence. So a couple of weeks later, it acted up again. I thought, okay, I'm going to do this exact same thing. And I did. And it went away. And that was my aha moment of, wow, these really do work. Because in my 30 some odd years, I have tried anything and everything I could get my hands on. From medications, therapies, TENS units, injections, everything to try to get that to go away. And a little bottle of oil and some heat did it. So my family, all of us use the oils. My daughter loves them. She asks for them. She wants to know, she'll come to me and she'll say, I've got this, and what do I use? And where do I put it? And how do I do it? And she loves it. She loves going to classes with me and learning about them. I use a lot of the oils for my emotional issues and helping me just deal with life and the things that have been thrown at me. And I have a better outlook on life than I did a year ago. It's all, those tragic events will always stay with me, but I'm not going to let them run me. And so when I start looking for that rabbit hole, I turn to my oils and I use them, and they help me, and I go the other direction from that rabbit hole. So if you're wanting to know any more information about me or the oils, please feel free to message me or let me know. I hope everybody has a great day.